I know that a lot of people said they would honestly just prefer a Modern Warfare 2 remaster to getting a brand new game. And I gotta tell you, after playing Modern Warfare 2 recently, I don't know about that, man.
Revenge is like a ghost. It takes over every man it touches. Steps cannot be questioned until the last man standing has fallen.
Damn, look at all these. Oh my god!
This appears to be the work of the ultra-nationalists led by the shadow of Zakayev, one Vladimir Makarov. The Kremlin, however, sees it differently.
The Prime Minister has pledged full support to aid in any way possible.
Zakayev kept Makarov in check, but no longer.
The world's men in action will look and wonder how it came to this.
Awesome, thank you so much.
For anyone who was our age playing video games at the time, it was this and Halo 3, dude. It was the greatest time to be a fan of first-person shooters, and especially just to be playing video games in general. It was an amazing time.
No, I agree, and I think every 30-year-old holds that same opinion as you. Modern Warfare 2 established for itself, a place in the Hall of Fame, I think, for video games in general, especially first-person shooter games. It's in the GOAT conversation. Modern Warfare 2 really gave the CoD franchise its shape, kind of gave it the identity that it has even today. It set the tone for, what the franchise was going to look like going forward.
Modern Warfare 2 did more than set the tone for just what the franchise was going to do, but what all first-person shooters were going to do moving forward. And we still feel the effects of what Call of Duty has done, design philosophies, and especially player retention philosophies that pervaded for the years that followed. Like Call of Duty 4 laid a foundation by innovating immensely. The custom class systems, the perks, the kill streaks, all that had never been done before. You take arena shooters for what they were prior to that game coming out and being popular. It was Halo, it was Quake, it was GoldenEye. The standard was symmetrical, fair, balanced. Everybody started exactly the same. So then COD 4 comes into play and they say you can spawn with whatever, you can spawn with an advantage or a disadvantage. COD 4 was successful, obviously, and people loved it, but Modern Warfare 2 took what COD 4 did, dialed it all up to 11, really polished all those ideas into something that became literally one of the most addicting video game experiences that anyone had ever played up until that point.
It's pretty evident that Modern Warfare 2 took the series into stardom, right? I mean, yes, Modern Warfare was popular, but there was an article I saw from Forbes that shows the sales of all of the COD games. The boost that occurred when Modern Warfare 2 came out was nothing short of astronomical. Quintuple the amount of sales, the amount of people getting the game, playing the game. I mean, it just skyrocketed into something that I don't think anyone really could have anticipated. To an extent, I think you're right. I do think that other games, Halo 3, for example, had a very large role to play. Battlefield 2, Battlefield 3. There were some other games that came out that were very influential as well. In the end, Call of Duty prevailed, didn't it? If you're making a first-person shooter, you have to take some inspiration from COD, right? When you are a competing studio, where you're making a competing game in the same sector, in the same market, the same genre, you're not looking to beat Halo, right? You're not looking to beat Battlefield. You're looking to beat Call of Duty, because Call of Duty is always sitting on the throne. Modern Warfare 2 benchmarked what FPS games needed to look like to the player for the distant future. I saw a poll on Twitter, it was a couple years ago, before Modern Warfare 2019 had come out, and they were asking people, what would you like to see for COD 2019? In a poll with 60,000 people voting on it, Modern Warfare 2 Remastered won out in that poll over a brand new COD game. People would legitimately rather just play Modern Warfare 2 with improved graphics and dedicated servers than take the risk of getting a new Modern Warfare game, regardless of how good it could be, right? And I think that that really speaks to the influence and the impact that that game had. I know that a lot of people said they would honestly just prefer a Modern Warfare 2 remaster to getting a brand new game. And I gotta tell you, after playing Modern Warfare 2 recently, as fun as it was and as much of a nostalgia trip as it was for me, I don't know about that, man. You know, one-man army, danger close, noob tubes, and things like that. Sleight of hand with the intervention. I mean, like, dude, commando, tack knifing, akimbo models. Obviously, they're patched now, but you want to talk about something that just broke the game. An overpowered gun comes out today, and if it's not nerfed within a week, people are freaking out. And man, death streaks. I died 2 off a tactical nuke while I was playing because someone with painkiller ran around the corner, shot this guy like 5 times, painkiller hit markers, and he panic knifed me.
Modern Warfare 2 is such a hit or miss experience. And that is really, if you asked me what it was like to play Modern Warfare 2, even in its heyday, it was always hit or miss. You would get on, and every match you'd be rolling the dice because somebody could be doing something absolutely atrocious on the enemy team that completely ruins your good time, or the game itself, you know, you'll be doing good. Then when you do get a good game, it drops the match. And it can't migrate the host, and the match drops. And that stuff would happen all the time.
We got Modern Warfare 2 Remastered already, didn't we? But it was campaign only. There was no multiplayer in the game. And that couldn't have been for no reason, right? I mean, clearly, they did not believe that it would be as successful as they would have needed it to be for it to be worth it. And you know, you got to ask, where does that come from? Are they out of touch with the community? I absolutely think they are to a degree, but I also think that they know that the people asking for that are not the majority, and they're not the ones that they're trying to get into the base and get into their consumer market and retain now, right? I think it was Henry Ford that said, if you were to ask people what they wanted for transportation, they'd tell you they wanted a horse that didn't get tired or a horse that can run faster. Nobody would have said cars, right? So I think just pretending that getting an exact recreation of something from 13 years ago, it might not have the effect that we idealize or dream that it would in our heads, right?
What Modern Warfare 2 did right, more than anything, was create systems that made players want to keep playing. And that's what made COD so successful on a fundamental level, and something that's often overlooked. People, you know, like we talk about features like custom classes, like death streaks, like Killstreaks, and all the attachments and the camos and the challenges, but really actually what it is on a formulaic level, almost just like a mathematical equation. What Infinity Ward cracked the code for was figuring out how to make players never want to stop playing a video game, which was not really something that other games had strived for very much, especially not on console. You had a game like World of Warcraft where they, like Blizzard, very much tried to do that and make that game sticky, so you never wanted to get off it. So there was always a feeling of I had to do more, I needed to level up more and get more gear. Modern Warfare 2 did that in a much different, it looks a lot different, but it's the same principle. They maximized player retention. And that's really what made it so good, because even when you had the terrible matches, you didn't want to stop, because you had to get the nuke the next game, and it was gonna happen the next game, and you were gonna get the fall camo 2 more matches. That's all you needed. You just had to get a few more headshots. Would you get the headshots? No. Do you keep playing for another 10 matches? Absolutely. Do you keep playing for another 100 matches thinking you're going to get the nuke every time? Absolutely. It keeps you going. It keeps stringing you along. That's what Modern Warfare 2 did perfectly. And that's why we still go back to this day, because we want to see those big yellow numbers show up in the middle of our screen when we shoot a guy, because it makes us a little bit closer to that carrot dangling at the end of the treadmill.
I think that we tend to view it with so much nostalgia, and we idealize the fun that we had and the memories we made and the community and the camaraderie that game offered. And we tend to like bundle and package the actual game in with that, and we kind of missed the point that the game itself would drastically fall short of the mark today. And if we were to get a faithful remaster, right? If they remade Modern Warfare 2 and they did not rebalance danger close noob tubing, and they didn't rebalance, you know, commando knifing and painkiller and those kinds of things, I think people would be calling for patches, and they would want the game to be what it should have or could have been, right? They want the game, but they don't want those things that come along with it. I think they don't really want those things, and they'd realize that if they experience them again.
You take Halo Infinite, for example, and I feel strongly that Halo Infinite is not a very good experience in its current state. One of the things that I saw they recently did was they patched how the momentum and physics worked in the game, because you used to be able to do these momentum-based skilled jumps, kind of like G sliding in COD, for example. They patched that out. The ideology that 343 took on for Halo Infinite was, if it's a bug, if it's an exploitation, if it's like a manipulation of the game systems that was unintended by the developers, we want to fix it. Fix it, because it's a problem. But I believe that hampers, in those cases, it hampered the gameplay experience. It made the experience less interesting, because now there's less things you can do. You know, now the skill ceiling is lower, and now the speed running is less interesting. Sometimes fixing everything does not lead to a better experience. It can lead to a more boring experience, and it's the same thing every time. And I think that's kind of what the problem with COD is at this point also. Every game is so similar, and most newer COD titles are really lacking identity. Trying to make a game perfect, polished, and flawless, to a certain extent, doesn't always make it better. I really maintain that despite a lot of these things about Modern Warfare 2 feeling like shitty sometimes when it happens to you, not only does it give it character, not only when you reflect on Modern Warfare 2, for better or for worse, do you remember these very specific, vivid qualities about it that stick in your mind and you're never going to forget them, which I can't say the same about a lot of the new COD titles at all. Not only that, but some of those things, those exploits, became equalizers in the player space, right? Because like, if you were really good, like you and I were back in the, well, you still are, I'm bad now. If you were really good and you were lasering people to the ACR constantly, there's not much that's gonna kill you. You know, if there's a good player on the enemy team who's just rocking your shit, like, your options, I feel like now in like newer COD titles, are a lot more limited. Like, you just have to outskill them. And now there's other things at play that equalize you instead of the guns and things like that and the perks. Now it's skill-based matchmaking that equalizes you, unfortunately. And now it's a sweat fest every single match. And now every guy is the guy with the ACR and the UMP lasering the shit out of you, and you're getting rocked. But back in the day, especially when skill-based matchmaking wasn't a thing and you were just getting thrown in with everybody, you could get someone who's a super sweaty tryhard, you could get people who are just absolutely terrible. The guy who never plays, he can kill the guy who's really fucking good, because he can just pull out the one-man army and he'll get a few kills and he'll feel like he's doing good and he can get a cool gameplay even. You know what I mean? And so can the guy who's really good and just plays it straight and plays with that ACR and just does the meta. And the people who want to, you know, if you are really bad and you need attack boost to get the nuke emblem, like, the fact that those things were even options in the toolkit made everyone feel like if they got creative enough, they could figure out a way to achieve their goals, because of how many weird things were at play in Modern Warfare 2.
Well, I mean, you make one excellent point. The ability to equalize and balance lobbies out has not gone away, but there has been an active transition on the developer side, taking that away from the player and into the hands of the development team, right? Via skill-based matchmaking and team balancing. And because before, there were options available to you and alternatives to help level the playing field against players that were much better than you, but it required an active participation and a decision on your part to do that. No, you have to be the person to actually put on a one-man army danger close noob tube class and select it. If you're not taking an active role in attempting to equalize your experience, then it's not going to happen for you. And they've really hijacked that away from the player. I think that's a great point. And they've taken it upon themselves to do that for you, because I guess they've, over time shown that some players they aren't resourceful in that regard, right? They don't think about things like that, or they want to be able to equalize without being forced to play a certain way, which I think is the other side of that coin, right? As well, I can equalize by using the danger close noob tube, but now I can't snipe, which is what I want to do, but I can't because everyone else is destroying me. And the only way I have a chance is to switch to a noob tube. And that doesn't help me accomplish the goal that I want to do. There's kind of two sides to that, right? There were a lot of issues with the game that gave it personality. And I'm not saying that I don't want a remaster. I would love to play a remaster. I would love to play the original game. If I could just get everyone on the original game and let's not hack. But I think that it would not be as well received and that it would not trigger the same memories quite as fondly as we're expecting it to. And I think that that's evidenced by Modern Warfare Remastered from 2016. That game, as great of a recreation and as faithful as it was of a remaster, at least at launch, it didn't trigger the same response in everyone. It didn't capture the same essence because we've evolved. First-person shooter games have evolved. The culture has evolved. People are way more competitive now. Everything is focused on how good are you, right? Like, there's a lot more stake and skin in the game for how people are playing it.
May I offer the idea, maybe hyper optimization on both from a player perspective, where every player is now in 2022, the way they play video games, they are hyper optimizing everything about how they play. So from a player perspective, there's hyper optimization. And then on a game level, there's hyper optimization in how it's developed and how it's kept up with in terms of updates, with features like SBMM, patching things out that are bugs, glitches, whatever, too powerful, whatever, nerfing stuff, whatever. The hyper optimization from both ends converging at each other just results in a really fucking boring experience anymore that I think a lot of people have gotten very disengaged with. There's no room for the character. There's no room for the ecosystem to grow. There's no room for the weird stuff to happen. And there's no room for anything memorable anymore. No, you know exactly what's going to happen this match. You know exactly what's about to happen to you every time you play.
You make an outstanding point, and I think that is why I don't think Modern Warfare 2 Remastered would go over very well. We've taken that out of the player at this point. Like, it's gone. The era of that being acceptable and people being resilient and adapting and improvising to things like that is no more. It's either I go on Twitter and Reddit and complain about this until it gets fixed, or I go play a different game. Like, much as I personally would love to see it, and I think some other people would tolerate it, I think that there is definitely a spectacle through which that game is viewed, and people tend to idealize it to such a degree they forget that game is a mess. And we are less prepared than we have ever been to deal with a mess in this community, let me tell you. So
even if it would be done right from the developer standpoint, I think the community would never react with open arms quite the way they may think they would. And maybe some of the old heads would be into it, but it's like you're going to have so many new players coming in that it's not going to ever really be the same.
But nah, dude, guys, if you want to play Modern Warfare 2, just get on.
Join in the description of this video. There's going to be a link to actually a new Discord server that we made for Game Gains. Let's all do a custom lobby on Modern Warfare 2.
Community
fill up
night.
lobbies. Hell yeah, dude. That'd be so sick. So join the Discord for sure for that. Hell
Thanks
yeah.
everybody for watching this video. If you haven't already, subscribe, leave a like. If you really want to help the channel, biggest thing you can do, honestly, is just coming back for the next video, watching it start to finish. Watch this video start to finish, share it with your friends. Help us, get a foothold in the community, because I think we have a lot to offer, and we really enjoy entertaining you guys. So
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Yeah, thank you guys for all the support so far. And if you like the audio versions, if you like listening to stuff in the car, at work, whatever, Go to Spotify, Game Gains on Spotify. Leave comments down below. Let us know what you thought about Modern Warfare 2. Do you still want a remaster after watching this video, or have we maybe changed your mind and jogged your memory a bit?
Join the Game Gains Discord so we can have these Modern Warfare 2 community nights.